Hi, and welcome back to our second Artist Insights interview.
Hello.
For those of you who have no idea who I am and what this video is actually about, super nice to have you here. I'm Elena. I'm a freelance artist who likes to explore the world, also known as creative nomad. This series is called Artist Insights, in which I interview other artists about their creative life that they have chosen for themselves. And in today's episode, we have Natalie with us.
Hello.
I will probably switch from Natalie to Natalie and back again, so just let you know.
Absolutely okay. I know whom is meant.
Natalie, also known as Vanillery Garden, is an animal portrait nature artist, illustrator, and graphic designer. But Natalie is also an intuitive tarot reader.
Yeah.
And this is how we met. We were both on the online drawing date of Friend Menezes, yeah. Friend, yeah. And yeah, Natalie kindly gave me some answers to my questions.
So this is actually how you get to meet other artists through artists. So it was like an artist date.
What?
And this is the second date actually that we have.
Yeah.
This one is planned. The other one was just magical, universal coincidence.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. So, as Elena mentioned, I also do tarot card readings, and the thing that we have planned out is that I'm actually going to give a reading, and this video will be on her Patreon later on then, which you can follow or should.
Yeah, I will put everything, so my Patreon link and of course Natalie's contact information, everything is down below, everything is in the description.
And also, just a shortcut here. I have two cats, and they will try to kind of sneak their way into this video for sure. So whenever there's a camera and a microphone somewhere, they have to show up. You'll see them, you'll hear them. I'm very sorry, there's nothing I can do.
But this makes our interview even way, way, way better.
It's an upgrade. The door is open, just walk through. You can do it. Yeah, you can do it.
I'm imprisoned.
Are you kidding me? Are you actually?
So if you're curious about what we will find in the reading session, go check that out on Patreon and share some love. So give this video a like. You're more than welcome to share it. And if you're vibing with my work, consider to subscribe.
And follow.
Yeah, please do that.
And the notification bell and all that stuff. And leave a comment.
All that jazz. But yeah, I think let's start with some questions. Natalie, do you want to tell us a little bit more about you and what you're actually doing for a living?
Yeah. What I'm actually doing here. So I work as a freelancer. I actually run an ad agency with professional photography that also includes illustration and all other creative shenanigans that you can imagine. So it's a little bit all over the place, which is also the same thing that happens on my channel. It's a little bit of everything because we like to be self-sufficient, not only creatively, work-wise, but also privately. I have a ton of herbal knowledge. I like to make my own medicine. I barely ever have seen a doctor in my life, so it's a bit everywhere, and that can be confusing for people because it's not just, well, I am known for, I don't know, repairing cars or drawing bunnies, or it's everywhere.
So you're also in some way a creative nomad?
Yeah, it's really hard for me to pin down because I work in marketing and I help people present themselves. Yeah. But it's so hard to do the same thing for myself because I can't pinpoint myself on one single thing. I get bored so easily. And so whatever advice I give out to my clients is not really what I'm taking for myself, though I know I should. But I think it's also more like a personal, I want to say thing, like I'm in my own way. Mm-hmm. Because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. Yeah. And so sometimes the perfectionism freezes you so much in place that you're not actually going out there with the same bravado, with the same clarity that you have for others. So I'm in the midst of rebuilding the Vanillery Garden as to a place where I just show everything, not just one thing, not just the tarot, not just the art. It could be all over the place. I just want people to come and feel free and not judged and express themselves in whatever kind of way they want to.
So you don't have a specific niche?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. Maybe it will come there. You never know. But as of now, I'm slowly crawling out of that stressful, I have to find my niche, I have to find my definition space. And maybe it's kind of like a sabbatical year where I just let myself do whatever, and then we'll see where it goes.
So kind of exploring, and then you will see what's coming up. Okay, cool.
But money-wise, a sabbatical doesn't make you a lot of money, so it's mostly through the marketing stuff and also through filming. We do creative presentation. Me and my partner, we run an ad agency that's called Chihiro. If anybody's familiar with Studio Ghibli movies and Spirited Away, this is where the name comes from.
Chihiro, okay.
And yeah, so we help others.
I will also link that in the description.
Thank you. But we help other people with their self-presentation on social media, or if you have a company and you need to like internally announce some changes. So change management is something that is really an icky thing because people hate change, and you have to be very careful about that. So all these finer nuances of communication via video or via communication plans is also what we do. So it's again a little bit all over the place, but
well, that is good to know. So your main income streams are from this.
Yeah, it's still creative, but it's more targeted towards videography and marketing. So
lots of kind of work doing for another person.
Yeah. Also, what we had recently was a VR shoot where bank employees have to kind of prepare themselves. What happens if there's a real robbery that's happening? How should you react? So it's a real training that happens with bank employees where they have the VR.
And I'm going to test it afterwards.
So yeah, this is what I'm actually doing for a living.
So, but in terms of, I don't know, like doing personal work,
that's also always in there because life decided to somehow push me out of my mother's womb with the pencils in hand already and drawing on walls and whatnot. So the creative part was always there, always needs to be there. It's always a snapshot of my own mental health. If I'm not creative, something is off. Something is truly off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you also are you feeling this, I don't know, in your body or in your behaviors or anything?
Yeah. It does feel like, I mean, I've never been diagnosed as depressed or something, but everything starts to get more sluggish, more heavy, because I'm not having that kind of output.
Yeah.
Not that I need to be productive. That's something very different. And I know that we as creatives tend to push ourselves with the whole algorithm stuff and need to post on a daily and whatnot. This is not what I'm talking about. This can absolutely stifle your creativity if you feel like you need to do that all the time. What I'm talking about is just having a creative flow wherever. That could be in cleaning. That could be in the scribbles that you take while you're on a phone call. It's just the small little things. It's actually the lifestyle behind the creativity. And this is where you give yourself the grace to have things move on without the anxiety of imperfection.
Yeah.
And this is how you stay creatively alive, because you're not stifling yourself with the perfect presentation, the perfect wording, the perfect hashtags, whatnot.
Yeah. Like you said, you kind of came as a creative out of the womb.
Yeah. Hello, mother. Bring me the canvas.
So you didn't discover this side later in life? So
there was no creative awakening.
Okay. No. Right from the beginning.
Nope.
I'm here.
It was very clear that my creative work path, so to say, would be creative. My mother had an ad agency already, so I knew exactly what I did not want to do or how I did not want to run it, because she was always busy, always working.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah, she was very prestige. So she had that huge house, and she needed to drive a Porsche, and she knew all kinds of people. She was very like performative. She was perfect. And I knew from a very young age on that I could never reach that kind of level of put-togetherness, I want to say. Mm-hmm. So for me, I needed to ask myself, okay, is this kind of perfect presentation, perfect work, all the awards that you want, is this where I want to go? Versus seeing her now as she dropped that kind of ad agency stuff and became an herbalist and a rose breeder, and see her in this kind of change that she had in her personality. Okay. And I doubt that this was mainly just because of her job. It's not the job that makes you turn a certain way. It's the way you need yourself to be perceived in a certain way. And so I think she found a lot more grace in being a rose breeder and working with David Austin roses than being that kind of ad agency work person. But I love my job. I love graphic design. I love illustration. So I want to stay in that kind of realm of work without needing to have that kind of veneer and perfect presentation and everything is like down to the point. So for me, the whole mental mindset, the whole lifestyle behind self-sufficiency became really important in how do I address my daily life. Because that is how it either runs everything and it runs smoothly or it runs me into the ground. It's up here. It's how do I live. Yeah. So you can be self-sufficient and you can be one of those, I want to say, artists or illustrators who become so stressed with self-sufficiency that you're never going to touch anything creatively again, just because it stressed you out so much to survive, to present a certain way, to talk to galleries in a certain way. You know, there's this fixed mindset, that fixed role that we have of what we're supposed to be or what we want to be. Sometimes even people that you look up to are the images in your head that are in your way, because you see you can never be like them. Yeah, because you're not supposed to be, so anyways. But you'll never reach that, so you drop it altogether. Yeah. And this is where the toxicity and that kind of I want to be an artist thing comes in. Yeah. Maybe compared to friends of yours or family members or anything like that, do you notice any differences in terms of how you approach life because you're an artist? Or do you notice any differences in your bank account, in your environment, in your own behavior, anything like that? I mean, I think that typically the artist's brain is a little bit different, wired differently. So the way I problem solve is very practical. Maybe because that's why... Maybe that's because I didn't start out as a digital illustrator, but I used to build my huge canvases myself. And there was this very, I want to say, practically inspired way of creating art, because as a child or as a teenager, you don't have the means to buy all the art supplies. You have to become very creative in your technique in order to go where you want to go or make it look how you want to make it look. So from that kind of point of view, and also what ties into that is that I'm a highly sensitive person, so I'm very aware of my surroundings. I'm very aware how other people's problems get solved or how they solve it. And then it's adaptive learning. So the way that I work differently is that I cannot solve my problems through others, which is to say through making others unhappy or through making others feel like I took something from them. For me, it always needs to be in a kind of balance. So I don't know, is there some kind of problem that you normally run into as an artist, or just in general, where you feel like this is something that we all deal with? I mean, in terms of money,
Yes.
We talk about pricing.
Could be a thing in terms of pricing, or like, I mean, the starving artist. There is this. I don't know if you can say it's a myth, because there are starving artists out there.
Yeah.
But it's also like how you approach everything, kind of.
Now let's talk about something, because I also worked in the theater. And with actors, there's always this thing of how do you price yourself. It's also with artists, but with actors, it's very much to have money is better than to not have money. Yeah. So they work for, I don't know, $15 an hour or something. It's really low. I can't deal with that, because I work with artists, and I work with actors, and I work with actors so often. And I always want them to have at least the minimum amount of, I want to say, nothing under 55 euros an hour. Nothing under that, because that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
But if you want to, and maybe this is something that goes into depth a lot, but if you're an artist and you're starting out and you have a problem of pricing yourself, I can give you a little formula where to start out.
Yeah.
So what you're taking is your monthly costs. So you have what does it cost to your mobile phone, your internet, the place you live, your apartment, your house, wherever.
Typical expenses.
Typical expenses like light, water, blah, blah, everything. But also things that you maybe don't think about. Really look at your monthly expenses. It costs money to run your bank account. Your insurances, everything needs to be in there.
Homepage.
Food, water, depending on where you live. So you run everything of that together, and then you add another 20 to 30% of that. And this is what you minimum need. This is your minimum monthly wage. With your best friends, this is the rate that you offer them. You cannot go cheaper, or you will starve.
Yep.
You will fail as an artist. You cannot, if you make this as a business, you cannot be cheaper than that. Now, if you add, this is the 100%. The normal price that you charge is 150%. So you have that minimum, and you add another 50% of that on top of it. This is your normal wage. If you're working with businesses, you make it 250. Because if it's a bank, or if it's like a huge fashion label,
the money is there.
This still is nothing for them.
Yeah.
And then of course it comes to what can you calculate in your hourly wages and what not. And what most people forget about is project management. How many hours do you spend on your phone? How many hours do you spend on your emails? That differs, of course, from artist to artist. But when you start working with it, you normally get a feeling of how many hours you need per client. Sometimes there are clients that are a bit more talkative. Then you have to calculate a few more hours into that. But project management is the thing that falls under the table. And then the project turns kind of icky, because you look at your phone and like, oh my God, they're calling again, and it's your free time and you don't get paid for that. You have to calculate that in.
Okay.
And then you sort of end with a sum that as a starter makes you puke out of nervousness. Because I can't charge this.
Yeah.
But you have to.
Yeah, you have to.
You absolutely have to. Otherwise, there's some other thing happening up here with your self-worth that needs to get fixed. But this is normal. Nobody ever will question you. Nobody who's ever out there in the business world running a day-per-day business will ever question you to go cheaper than this, because this is already very cheap.
I think it's also like how you approach this, how you're appearing.
Yeah. No, it's your job.
Yeah.
It's your job. If you're working in a company, somebody else has to do these kinds of talks with the client for you. And they're just talking about the same thing. They're talking about the same numbers. It's just that when you're self-sufficient, you yourself have to do these kinds of talks.
Yeah.
But they don't sell you cheaper. No, they sell more. I was working on an e-learning company for so many years, 10 years. And then I was working for porcelain design, Chinese productions, huge. Can't name the name, but everyone has one cup of these companies at home at least. And so if you know what kind of numbers are there, what profit they make from your illustrations designs, the original artwork it's peanuts. You have to remember that. This is where you want to make your money. This is where you're living from. This is where you want to have a family, feed your kittens, have a pension, grow old. You have to calculate realistically. Otherwise, you'll stop after 2 to 3 years. And that's kind of a sad story just because you didn't dare to ask for the money that you need, the bare minimum.
Yeah.
So sorry if I'm like shaking everyone out there. Ask for the money that you deserve. Please, 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 please. I'm not talking about getting rich here. I'm talking about surviving. This is something very different.
To survive. Yeah. Want to pay rent.
Right. It's like this is the bare minimum. If you look at that from the outside, see how sick this is. You're just asking for enough money to barely make it. Please adjust your prices.
Silence.
Also, if you're very insecure about your pricing, I highly suggest following Chris Do from the future. It's like the future, but without the E. And he talks about pricing a lot and how you actually get there to feel ready to charge those prices that you deserve. Okay. So this is nothing impossible that you're asking.
I will put it in the description.
Yes.
But did you notice any changes in your social environment in terms of, hi, I'm an artist, and your friends are like, cool? Or...
My friends are like, duh. Of course you are.
Okay.
Because whenever I get insecure and I go to friends, it's like, it's not that they don't want to listen, but for them it's so obvious. Why would I ever doubt myself? But we all have these moments of self-doubt where we think, is this good? Is this, should I change something? And they're like, so I have very, very good friends in terms of bringing myself to the ground and
that's good.
Being like, this is good work.
You need those people around yourself.
Yeah.
You need them.
I know that from other people and other artists, it can be really hard. I know that partly in my family. I've had members who said, well, a creative career is not viable. It's not, you won't be able to feed your kids. You won't be able to, survive on this. Nobody's going to take you serious. And I'm just smiling and laughing because I can remember when the internet came up and I'm like, hey, let's build an online shop and everybody's going to go viral and blah, blah, blah. And, people are going to buy their stuff from the internet. And elder generations are like, are you crazy? This is never going to happen. I won't invest in that. And I'm like, okay, you don't? Fine. They just lost a lot of money. Yeah. But in the early stages, when you had your internet modem with all the weird sounds and stuff, everybody just thought you were crazy for hanging out on the internet and meeting people on the internet and blah, blah, blah. But they never realized how much that's going to tie into the real life. Like, without the internet, we wouldn't be sitting here. You would be talking to us. So, whatever your vision is as an artist, you can never fully trust the judgment of others outside if they don't have the vision that you have. They just don't see as far. So if you're having a creative idea that is not very usual, I would be very careful who you share your self-doubt with. Because other people will just kick you further down the self-doubt drain.
Yeah, and they will also put their own fear on top of you.
Yeah, it's a huge projection.
Yeah.
So you have to have those people in your life.
Speaking from experience.
So yeah, you really have to have those people in your life who just trust you. Even if they can't see what you see, they know that you'll come up with something great.
Or even if you can't see what they see in you.
Right, something goes the other way around too.
Yeah.
The 5 people you surround yourself with. Isn't there something like... And
it's exactly like that. And I noticed that myself. I need some more creative people around myself. Yeah.
So the internet is still a place. If you're living in the outside of nowhere, like I'm up on a hill close to the mountain.
I'm also from the countryside, so
so we need the internet to connect, but it's not I want to say second grade connection. It's like it's premium sushi.
Yeah.
Still.
Oh, sushi. What does success mean to you as an artist?
Ooh. I think I'm going back to the 1600 Zen master without a name because it's unknown, but he basically said that I don't think he used the word success, but I'm going to use the word success here. Success is to be without anxiety about imperfections. So we all know that if you're an artist, you're going to stick it through. You're going to be creative your whole life. But how easy are you able to go on yourself as this creative being where you have no control over how it's going to show up, how it's going to change? That is outside of your control. What's in your control is that you can show up, and that you can be without anxiety about being imperfect, about making mistakes. This is my success. Of course, I could talk about being a puppeteer and working in the theater and la la la, but for me, all of that goes for nothing if I don't feel happy with what I'm creating, even though I exactly know what I did wrong in that painting.
Yeah. So
I can see it.
Yeah.
You never look at your artwork the way other people look at it.
Totally.
My partner once asked me, if you look at that kind of painting that hangs there, where are the mistakes? And I told him, do you really want to know what I see? And he said, yes. And I'm like, look at the ear here. It should be 2 centimeters down. Look at the eye here. They're not level. Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh my God. No. I'm going to forget about all of this stuff because it ruins the painting for him.
The realization.
Yeah. How you see it as an artist is absolutely... Tell nobody about how you see it. You're going to... You've already ruined it for yourself.
Yeah.
Please let other people enjoy your art.
That's a good one. So we kind of touched on that already, but I'm asking again. So you're able to live off from your creative income. Yeah. That's
actually I'm earning more than when I was working for a company.
Wow.
Yeah, but I work less half the time. Pricing is important. No, really, truly calculating and also truly focus is so important. If you're calling in clients that you actually just work with in order to make money, that's going to be very hard and very difficult, and you will feel uninspired. But as a freelancer, yes, you have to look out for your own money, but you also are free to choose the people you can work with.
And in some way, it's also going to show in your work when you're not
of
vibing with
course.
it.
Yeah. And I have to say, I mean, knock on wood and everywhere, in my self-sufficiency, I haven't met a client yet that I'm not vibing with. Because we have something that's more like an onboarding workshop, I want to say.
Okay.
Because we call it the pristine process, because it needs to be very clear. What are your talents? What are you good at? How can you serve the world? What do you want to do? Because you can be good at something, but it's not fun to you. And so it's a little bit like that kind of ikigai, finding your purpose thing. And from there, we work with clients on their projects, on their social media thing, because then you have the whole motivation, you have the whole movement and everything.
Okay.
So if the pristine process doesn't work out, we automatically know that we stop everything.
So you're also going on this journey with your client, and you will look for the things.
It's very intimate, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very psychologically looking into it, but you want to connect with your clients on a really deeper level. Yeah. Otherwise, your work will always be kind of superficial, and that's not it doesn't work on the long run. You will work for this like 5 years, maybe 10 years, but then you feel so exhausted.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a close to burnout at the age of 24 just because I was doing too much, trying too many things at the time.
Yeah.
But wanting to be perfect everywhere. This is where I'm like, okay, I can't do everything perfectly. I have to focus on 2 to 3 things. And one of them at the moment is Sassen, which is the Zen meditation, where you're actually, like, there's no technique. You're just sitting for 40 minutes. And for someone who's a perfectionist, that is really frustrating. Because there's nothing to gain. They don't promise you enlightenment. They don't promise you that you'll be better. It's just like, are you able to sit?
Is it also
yourself?
about the productivity?
Yeah, it can be about the productivity. I make it about the productivity.
Yeah.
And this is where I feel like this is so good for me, because there is nothing to be productive about this.
Yeah.
And I have to find something that does not drive me towards excelling at everything or competition, because I was raised in a very competitive environment.
Oh, okay.
My mother is very competitive. I lost in Trivial Pursuit for the first 15 years of my life. Never would let me win. I'm painting her way worse than she is. We have a competitive nature, and I think I took that from her and I ran with it. And sometimes it's really nice because you actually are able to finish faster, be better at research, whatever. You're kind of riding that horse that is your strongest feature.
Yeah.
But you have about 5 horses back there that you never take out for a ride. That is also, you have to be, like, all of your talents wait to be discovered. And you don't necessarily have to run with the one that is your best, which again goes back to, this is what you can do best. Yeah, but is it the one horse that you enjoy going on a ride with the most?
Yeah.
Or is it just the fastest?
Yeah, and that's pretty important, I think.
Yeah.
Not I think, I know it. It's like, you have to follow this path. I have that on my laptop. You have to follow the path of excitement.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
On point. You prepared for this, were you?
You can buy it in my store.
Really, can't be.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. This ties in perfectly. We're going to show it to you here. There you go.
So if you could give another creative person some advice when they want to be able to pursue a creative life and being able to live off from this. So like we had pricing. Is there also something you would say?
Practice. You have to have a structure in your day that allows you to actually draw and be creative. Because once you become self-sufficient, there's accounting, there's cleaning, there's file management, there's project management. There's so much around the art that if you do not have a clear structure in your life, in your day, where you block in time just for your own projects or for your practice, and then you show up for it. Because sometimes we tend to tiptoe around, I'm going to take a coffee. Well, my workspace looks terrible. I can't work like this. I have to clean out. So the procrastination becomes your new kind of thing. And just, again, I'm going back to Zen because I really love that. They have time for cleaning budgeted in. If you starting out, there's no way you can afford someone else cleaning your house. I also don't like that. I don't want strangers touching my stuff. I'm a little bit weird there, but I like to clean. I like to make it harder for myself so I can enjoy the better stuff later on. I like to clean stuff so I can look it, because it feels different when I clean it versus when someone else cleans it. So what I'm budgeting in my pricing, and coming back to this, is cleaning as well. Time to clean. Because it's your workspace. Of course, if you're if you're working at a company, they budget that in. Of course, the cleaning lady, they budget for that. You have to budget for that yourself too.
That makes totally sense.
Yeah. So these are the things that you're not thinking about, but you have to calculate for that. Otherwise, you will never feel like you have enough time to clean, because you could be working instead. You could be making money instead. So this is how you have that mental conundrum of everything is chaos. You don't feel really at home in your own home or in your own space. And then you should be creatively productive and in the flow. It's not going to work out like this.
But how are you feeling about being creative when you have to be creative?
Yeah.
So like...
when you're asked for it, like, do you mean deadlines or something?
No, not deadlines. More like, okay, I decided today is Tuesday. If
you put on the spot, like, that's also something that you practice.
Yeah.
It's Oh, there we go. This camera just overheated. To come back to the question, once you have that kind of practice, once you have that kind of, it's just 15 minutes in the morning for cleaning. It doesn't take longer. You set yourself your timer for that. Otherwise, you go off on a tangent and you'll come back 3 hours later and everything is clean, but you have no work done. No, it's just 15 minutes, just a little bit. So once you have that done, then of course you have to be fed and you have to, your body has to be happy. Maybe you have a little walk for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes max. And then you sit down, and this is where you just start.
Yeah.
You don't think about it too much. You just start. And maybe the first 5 minutes feel like, well, this is very slow moving today. The first 10 minutes feel like how am I going to have that kind of insight? But I tell you, nowadays, I mean, my favorite thing is corporate design, corporate identity, logo design, everything like that. That is my shtick. So this is what I love. And it's, if I have that kind of, and this ties together with the way I work, if I have that kind of purposeful connection to my client, mostly I have the idea in my head already when I'm talking to them. I don't have to come up with anything. I already have it.
You have a vision in mind.
Yeah. And this goes back to having that kind of deeper connection to yourself, which is why meditation is so important, because you have to empty the slate out before you can draw anything on it. Otherwise, you're just painting on paper that has tens of thousands of scribbles on it already. It's not, can't differentiate. And this is why movement is so important. The 20 minutes of movement in your body, so you can flush out the adrenals and your lymphatic system becomes clean, and you're just preparing yourself so that you can't fail. You won't fail. You're giving yourself time slots so that you don't procrastinate, but you're also giving yourself the time to fuel yourself enough to just sit down and work. Yeah. So you're coming to the clean desk, you're well fed, you have already moved, and you're able to kind of, because I mean, that's a personal thing. I don't think that I'm creating. I think that I'm in the way of creating. So I have to do everything that stops the distraction. Yeah. So that the flow and the ideas.
I just wanted to say, so you're preparing the flow.
Yeah.
That the flow is able to come in. And,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a very good book by Mihai.
Csikszentmihalyi. I wrote my bachelor thesis.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This book in there.
He's so important. Such an important
flow. Csikszentmihalyi.
He's Hungarian, hence the name. So yeah, this is a good read on that if you want to go deeper. But mostly, there's also the thing that we can procrastinate in reading books and taking courses about productivity.
Oh, hell yeah.
When we already know what we should do.
And you feel so productive.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, I didn't get any work done.
Yeah. You feel tired from learning, actually.
Oh, yeah.
But you already know. So there's...
I'm guilty of that.
Same. I love learning, but like... Again, I factor in time for learning, which for me is bedtime. Yeah. I have all my books in bed. I'm learning Japanese right now.
Oh, I want to learn Japanese as well. Okay.
It's the easiest language. Grammar is the easiest language.
Okay.
Grammar. Kanji, whole different topic. But if you just want to speak it, it's easier than English. It's way easier than German. It's easier than Hungarian, Italian, French. Compared it to all the languages.
Okay, so we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
What helps you when you're struggling with your artwork? So also in terms of like comparing with other people, and comparison is the devil. Comparison is the devil. So it's like, it's really hard for me to be on Instagram. Sorry, we're renovating the house. If there's weird noises, it's not just the cats, it's also the construction workers. Being on Instagram is probably the most self-destructive and toxic thing I can do. Because as of now, as I'm taking this sort of sabbatical year, I'm not posting daily or weekly. It's maybe monthly at the moment. And there's all this change, and I see how productive others are and how their style is developing and how happy and the numbers grow and la 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 and everything. Really?
Yeah.
I'm noticing something different.
No, there's the I want to say for normal people, it's like it's in the extremes. The algorithm pushes those who are already successful through the roof, and the rest is just declining.
Yeah.
Slowly. So this is what you see. I mean, they have to change it. Otherwise, Instagram is going to be empty AF. Yeah. Yeah. They'll have to do something about it. But that being said, you will still find other sources of making yourself unhappy through comparison. It's not just Instagram. It's just if you reach new clients through certain platforms, you'll always be looking what others are doing instead of, is this fun? Am I actually being authentic? Mm-hmm. Is this what I want to be doing, or is it just what's popular? So you actually have to compare yourself with your past self and not with another person. Yeah, that. And even with your past self can be depressing because you think like, well, I was way better at that one. It's just comparison in general. It's like, don't. You're here as a fresh human being with your fresh artwork, and it can look 180 degrees different from what you did last time. But you're just pouring. Again, it's about getting out of the way. You're pouring whatever wants to be expressed onto here. It's not you. This is not you. This is something else talking through you and giving, and it's sort of like internal cleaning. Everything that gets stuck inside of you through your emotions, your experience, your conditionings is like a river, and it takes all that pebbles and rubble and everything with it. So for you as an artist, expressing yourself should always feel like it's a cleaning experience. You should feel refreshed, unless you're sometimes obsessive and you sit there till 2-3 a.m. in the morning, but you're still happy creating. It's like the body says it's enough now.
And your neck hurts.
Yeah, and everything. But you're still happy with what you're creating. On the other hand, if you're sitting down and it's like, oh my God, I haven't posted in 5 days and I need new clients, and I need new followers. And if you put your creativity through this tiny straw of expectations, it's going to be very hard, but you still have to navigate that, because of course you have to survive. I want to say the more you show yourself as an artist, as a person, because ultimately, yes, of course, people will connect with your art, but they will connect with your art through you. Best example, your laptop and the Lee Alexson stickers in the background. Of course, it will. I love the art, but I love Lee. Altogether, this is the phenomenon of, if you look at art that to you seems like it's really crappy, and it hangs in giant museums and galleries, and you look at it, this is how it works. People pay for the artist, the character, the love, the projection, because who do we really love? But there's this image, there's this flair, this je ne sais quoi that people have around them.
Yeah.
And there are very few artists that just with their style, I want to say, go big. Even if you look at the past, like Klimt Schiele, they had patrons. They were paid it's very different. They had to, like, they were painting public buildings.
Yeah.
They were like, this is where the money came from. And we sort of forget that. We think that they were just in this small atelier and doing their work. No, they were paid very well by the city of Vienna to make the Sezessiones. It's all Klimt. The Beethoven Frieze, if you're there, like, look at it. It's my favorite building in the whole world. It's very small, but it's so beautiful. We kind of compare ourselves with other artists in parameters where we really make it unfair for ourselves. And we doubt ourselves because we never see the full picture.
And how are you approaching this to not compare yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm just cutting out social media. I'm the asshole that follows and just comments every 2 to 3 weeks, but I have to. If I'm on Instagram too much, it's like there are certain kinds of artists that I will follow and where I will comment because I get the notification. But otherwise,
I don't even have the notification on.
Just for the people where I want to know when they're posting, and the rest I'm just ignoring. But if that is your purpose, if your purpose is being an artist and not just being a social monkey commenting on other people's stuff, you have to, like, really create a small frame of artists that you want to be in contact with. I want to say make it 25 people max.
Oh, that's a lot.
That's a lot?
Yeah.
But it's like 5 where you're always there, and then like 20 where you're just in the neighborhood, I want to say. But these are the people that you're regularly talking to. And the rest is just like, yeah, if you're there once a week, all the DMs, I want to say, because that's where it gets important. If you put in your bio for work inquiries, email, no DMs, because it will just drown in the direct messages with all the bots and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So make it clear that if people want to work with you, they have to contact you in their link tree or whatnot. In your link tree, I want to say.
Yeah.
So give them the option that it's very clear where they have to contact you. And the rest is just, you have to be, that's still my favorite thing is self-inspiration. You have to be the grand, I want to curse again, a-hole.
That's totally fine. You can curse.
That just has their own artwork hanging up in front where you're working on your desk.
That
is just your own stuff.
Just?
Only.
Okay.
On the sides where you're not looking at always, you can have other stuff. But in front of you, it has to be your own thing.
Yeah.
Your own stuff. Why? Because you get inspired by your own artwork.
Oh, okay.
By your own style. If you're someone who struggles with finding your own style, hang just your own stuff. Just your own stuff. Nothing else. Otherwise, you will always be influenced by other people, but you want to tone down, you want to simmer down the essence of what you are.
Yeah.
You have to use you.
I had this problem, especially in terms of colors at the beginning. It was
colors is hard.
Oh my God. I saw so many colors and I was like, oh, looks so good. I want to try this. Oh, I want to try this. Actually, I like this. And it was like a big blob of all so many different colors. But
then again, you have to ask yourself, okay, are you toning down your colors so your feed looks orchestrated? Or is it just because you want to tone down in order to learn in depth about the colors that you're just using?
I think it was a mixture of both. And I wanted to find my colors. Of course, everything changes. And but like I felt the need to really narrow down, and maybe this is my minimalistic brain.
It's healthy. It's something that we learned also in graphic design school.
Yeah.
Like you start with 2 colors. That's it.
Yeah.
For a year.
Yeah. And maybe sometimes even I have to think of Fren. When you're making a zine, you can totally also make a zine without any colors.
No colors.
Yeah. And it looks awesome.
I had for 3 years, I had something that's called Darstellung and Komposition. It was actually painting classes in art school. And we weren't allowed for the first 1.5 years. We were allowed to use black, white, and brown.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's it. Learn to see and create values with these 3 shades. And I think that was the most grueling thing ever. And it was the most enriching thing on the other side, because you learn to see values so differently. The character of colors. And then it's not just, okay, these 3 and then all of them. And then you add in a blue, maybe. And then a yellow. And then you can go very far with these.
Yeah.
So you slowly add 1 and 1 and 1. Or you just go for the colds. And then you go for the warms.
This was also how I approached Inktober for the first times. I was like,
oh my God, Inktober.
Yeah.
The next burnout thing.
I took 3 colors and I was like, I will only draw with these 3 colors. And it was perfect. And I really liked this challenge to really narrow down and commit to this for a certain amount of time. And yeah.
So was it easier for you actually to be creative while actually constricting yourself?
Yeah.
Yes. Interesting, right?
How's it called? Limitation breeds creativity.
Great. We come back to Zen.
I have this from minimalism, so from another minimalist. Yeah.
I dig minimalism. I'm not living in a minimalist house because at the moment that's just not possible because there's so many people. But it's the cleaning process again. It's so important. Even if you have a lot of stuff and even if you can't let go of it because there are memories tied to it, just make sure that again you have a practice of touching the things and of picking them up and cleaning them, putting them back down. Even that will keep the flow of your house, your living situation alive.
There's also a word for this in Japanese. I think this is also some kind of the religion. They are
Shinto?
I think it's it's Shinto. Yeah, it's very Shintoism-like.
Yeah, because actually, and this is, okay, now we're getting very para deep and my personal way of seeing the world. I believe that there is nothing that is not alive. So maybe you catch yourself talking to your computer if it's not working properly. It's not just that you're kind of humanizing things that you think that are dead. But even if you look at quantum physics, and there are Harvard studies out, I can put them in the comments down there if you want to.
I want to enter this cat now. The prophecy is true.
Your attention, your presence, your way of being present with the thing at your hand, your brush, your iPad, your Apple Pencil, whatever you're using. The way you show up with that is going to make all the difference in everything that you do always. And this is such a little shift, just the attention of, I'm here, you're here. Let's do something. It's very minimalistic. It doesn't need more than that. Whether you're sleeping, whether you're feeding your fish, whether you're cooking, whether you're creating art, it's all the same thing. It is you being alive in this very moment with this thing being very alive at this moment. And the connection, again, makes it whatever it's going to be. And just your mind and your ego comes in and says, well, this is nothing. But what? It's an expression.
This is just a spoon.
Let it be a spoon. But it's a very alive spoon.
Yeah.
Maybe your favorite spoon at this moment.
Yeah.
Because it's in your hands. You can say, hi, spoon.
Yeah.
And this is how you are with your art materials as well. Like there's a personal connection between the things that you use, your daily life, and your practice. This is a very intimate situation that you're living through with your desk, with your laptop, with this microphone, with the camera, with the people out there. So everything is connection. It's not just people. And once you're aware of it, and I think the one movie that tried to show this is Avatar. Is it Avatar in English? I don't know.
I guess. Yeah.
Where you see that kind of connection is possible with everything. If I'm just going to leave you with one thing, is be aware that everything you see, touch, feel, that you come into contact with, that's a connection that you are influencing. So whenever you feel like you're not significant, know that that's just a lie. It's not true.
That's also kind of coming back to our
yes, hello.
Coming back to the question, like when you're using your phone, when you're going on Instagram and anything like that, this is also you're touching this thing.
Yeah, and the creations of other people, and then just remember how fast you're going through how much stuff. Yeah. How much attention can you give without becoming extremely tired?
Yeah, and also I noticed this by myself, how I look at art on Instagram. It's like it's a swipe away, and this is probably the work of someone who, I don't know.
Yeah, we consume art in a way that is just like not fair.
It's disgusting, if you ask me.
But again, we have to be fair with ourselves. We were raised in this kind of consumerism. So to step away from what the culture thinks is normal, again, a very good book here, The Myth of Normal by Gabo Mate. So once you have to step away from that kind of normal, what everyone does, your survival brain will kick in, because we're a group species, and what everyone does and what is normal is what you're supposed to be doing in order to survive. So once you step away from this kind of swiping thing, which again culturally is what everyone does, what you need to do in order to survive, you need to have all the information, you need to have seen everything,
fear of missing out.
Yes. So once you step away from that, be aware that anxiety will kick in, because your brain will tell you you're going to die. No, you won't, but it feels like that. So we come back into the habit of swiping.
That's also interesting, because what do you do when you're struggling in terms of facing existential fears, anything like that?
Again, with my partner is a former monk.
Whoa!
Yeah, so he's a Franciscan, and they have like skull of another human being on their bedside table. What? Just to remember them every morning. You are going to die.
I love that. I mean, it's creepy, creepy. But this is kind of what I'm doing with other people. It's like I'm reminding myself and other people as well, like, hey, you're going to die someday in the future. But you will. And it's like, it's changing so much how you approach your whole life.
Your priorities are so different. So different.
Everything.
Because we live in a culture that kind of ignores death.
Yeah.
everything is about staying young, being alive. And I mean, I get it. It's very survival brain. It's your lizard brain. It's like the lizard brain that runs everything. But you have to be very aware that you're not just this here.
Yeah.
Just this here.
This
and
is
you're
just
not
some flash. I don't know. It's like...
It's going to go. It's going to go. So once you know that you have a very limited amount of time, your focus suddenly shifts to what's not limited.
Oh, yeah.
What's unlimited? What about you is it? And like we come back to the connection that is not limited. That is not defined by what you think you are, how small you feel. It's defined by how much are you able to trust and open up, even if you have been hurt.
Do you know Alessandra Maistu? She's a friend of Fran also.
Maybe I'm so bad with names.
I will show her here. Alessandra is such an amazing artist, and I have a sticker from her, but I didn't stick it on something. I put it in a frame and have this one in front of me.
So that's a very special sticker then.
Yeah, it's I will show it here. It's such a reminder of death, but also in a beautiful way. I've seen a lot of death over the past years, and it's like everything kind of came together. This is also why I got so alive when you were telling me about the whole
Franciscan traditions. Yeah. So to circle back to, you have to remember that it's finite. And you won't remember anything. Again, we're living in a culture that ignores all of this because we think it's too much pain to deal with. But this kind of pain also, I want to say, grows your heart because it's expanding everything that you're feeling. It's a very intense emotion, and we kind of want to avoid that, but there's no avoiding it. You can avoid it now and face it later, but you still have to face it at some point. Again, we come back to, I enjoy connecting really deeply to everything and everyone around because I know I won't be here forever to see this. And now I have this kind of ego artist brain that says, your artwork is shitty and it makes me feel nasty, but I will be dead. Nobody will remember this. In a couple million years, the sun will eat up the earth. There won't be no humans to remember anything of this. Yep. So you're judging yourself on something that is just not important.
Yeah. We take us way too serious.
Yeah. So just the process has to be as enjoyable as possible, with a little frustration calculated into it, because that is what learning is. But ultimately, it can't be this here. It can't be 5 seconds and then another artwork piece and another. That's not the final stage. Don't define yourself by something that won't be here. I don't know. Instagram could be gone tomorrow.
Oh yes.
And then your self-worth is like, yay, or poof.
You have to work on your homepage.
And your newsletter.
Yeah. Oh my God, I have to start a newsletter.
Yeah, same. I mean, I have one with 100, 500 people. I don't know. But they haven't heard from me in 2 years. Hi! If you're on my newsletter list, I'm sorry. Things got in the way. So yeah, we make it way too complicated for our poor human brains, bodies, and souls. It's just have a practice, do it, don't compare yourself. And just set yourself up for success in your mind, in your body, and in your home. And that's nothing more. The rest is just
consistency.
Yeah, consistency, and it is or it is not. It's just a funny game of dice.
So part of our Artist Insight interviews is also an artist shoutout. I'm asking Natalie to give another artist a shoutout. Yeah, Natalie. I'm
shouting out.
Yeah.
I'm shouting out a musician because I don't know why this girl doesn't have more followers. She has the most incredible voice. Her name is Julie Alvin. She lives in Munich.
In Munich?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you're a gamer, you may have heard her voice already in Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West and World of Warcraft and quite a lot of games, actually.
I know Lara Loft.
Oh yeah, she's very Lara Loft is a big name in that, and I want the same actually for Julie because she looks like an elf, literally.
Oh god, I have to look up.
She's beautiful, beautiful voice. She has so much soul in her articulation. Like if you look at the Horizon Zero Dawn soundtrack, she doesn't have lyrics. It's just something that she makes up on the spot. And it's so emotionally touching. So if you look at her live performances, they're great. If you listen to the soundtrack, it's like, I love that girl. That's my shout out.
What is her handle?
I think it's Julie Alvin. We'll just put it here somewhere.
I will put it all in the description. Everything is there. Okay, cool. Thank you. Another thing at our Artist Insight interviews is an art trade. So I bring art from the creative person, the artist I have interviewed before, and will bring it to the next creative person. And this creative person is also giving me something for the next creative person.
It's a small art trade through the series.
Yeah.
That's such a cute idea.
So, Natalie, the first interview was with Mochi Panko and with Q Hopper. And you already said it. I know that you like Ghibli. So this one is from Q Hopper.
Oh my god. What? It's literally like the Okay, that's a very good choice. It's literally a company name. Oh my god.
I knew that you would like it.
So we'll make some in-betweeners in here. So like I have to show people this in the big screen.
And 2 pins from Mochi Panko, and I thought that you like animals and nature.
Yeah, and I love Mochi Panko. Oh my god. You picked you're actually very lucky. These are in my cards.
Really?
Yes. Oh my god. These are on my wish list, my artist wish list. It's like, this is perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I'm going to pass something onto the next one. It's like really super personal and quite unfinished, I have to say, but I'm creating a spirit animal art deck. And this is like the first handmade prints of the cards that I'm just going to pass along.
I will put some.
Yeah, we'll just. This is what we're talking about, but we have some in-betweeners maybe here.
Nice.
So
how many cards are these?
Oh my god, I think 23. There will be 30 in the end. Wow. There's still a few missing, but once the thing is finished, I'm going to send the full package to the next one as well once it's done. But this is the in-between first print luxury edition.
Very special.
Very special. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I brought you something from my shop as well. So I brought you some Bertram.
Oh, yeah.
So the No Bertram and the, because there's Halloween coming. So the Halloween Bertram. This is just my card. And I thought you would maybe like the nature version.
Oh my god, the bag.
Bertram tote bag. So this is also yours now.
Thank you. I'm going to have to give you some prints later on as well. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Before we will wrap up everything, Natalie, do you have one accomplishment you are really proud of that you have accomplished?
The accomplishment.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm still in the midst of accomplishing it because that card deck literally is something that I've been working on for years, and now looking at printers and seeing how to make it in the production to keep at it, to not just, that's not an art baby, because maybe you're the same as me. I have about 10 art babies that are simultaneously in the mix somewhere. And then quite often I just drop something and I'm never going to finish it. And this one is something that I'm chewing on for years now, and still being added and still wanting to produce it is, for me, the greatest accomplishment of my ADHD brain.
So this is the first thing in a long time that is totally personal work.
Yeah.
You know? Okay. Wow.
So with the other stuff, I mean, sure, there's stuff that I'm proud of performance-wise. Again, I was a puppeteer, and having that play win a couple of awards and stuff. But that's like, again, I don't want to go into that, oh, look, this is the greatest thing, blah, blah, blah. For me, that kind of rewards and like accomplishments, as I want to say, from the outside, that the outside gods of creativity suddenly shine upon me, and now I'm talking like Schwarzenegger now, but it's, they discover you, and suddenly there's this grand prize, and now you're officially a success.
And you're saying, I'll be back
for a second part. So, but this is not what I think I personally consider as success, because it's just very unlikely to happen to all of us. And of course, it's good to strive for something, but it shouldn't be this kind of, recognition from the outside.
Yeah.
I want to have my own recognition of, I know this is personally something that is really hard for me to accomplish, to stick with something and then put it through, even if it's been in the making for years.
Yeah.
That is something that is hard for me. And once I accomplish this, and I'm in the midst of it, so to say, I know that I have done something that is rewarding and where I have outgrown my former limitations of, I'm going to drop this.
What do you do when there's not an instant gratification from others? When you have accomplished something big?
For all the art kids out there that came into art just for showing your parents, look, Mom, what I did. And then the mother's like, yeah. So you've kind of been raised with that praise. It can be hard growing up when suddenly there's not everyone around you being like, you did so well. So you have to be like your own cheerleader in that, wow, look at all the things that you made over the course of the years. And then if you look at how your art was when you were 10 and where you are now, and the way you have grown as a person, and it expresses in very tiny ways, maybe the way you hold your pencil, the way you have your line work changed. Just because I think line work is a direct expression of what's going on with when you're angry. Like, your pressure with your line work will be totally different than when you're sad. To see yourself in what you're creating is the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Like, to truly see yourself, not to judge yourself, to just see.
Yeah. For me, it was also very kind of challenging when I finished my Japan zine. I was, and I'm super proud of it, but not that many people have discovered me yet, and not everybody is into Japan and things like
really?
that. Yeah.
I can't understand.
I can't understand, but it's like, I have a bunch of zines at home, and it's like, okay, do people actually care about this? Or,
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. It's just because not enough people know about you already. And it's not like, well, this is so great. And everybody tells you, and you're going nuts with the numbers of what the scene is selling. Yeah.
You also said you are being tested, and this is so true. It's like doing the work, even though no one is showing up yet. So.
Yeah, because that's the definition for me as an artist. But if you're doing it just so it's going to become popular and sell well, that is possible. And again, I'm not judging it. I just think that it won't be very healthy for your artistic soul to do that on the long run.
Your muse will be pissed.
Pissy muse, for sure.
Okay, this is how we end our
with
interview.
With a pissy muse, thank you. Don't piss off your muse.
No, but Natalie, thank you.
Thank you so
much for taking your precious time and participating in this format. And thank you for watching this video. And a huge shout out to my patrons for the friends. And I'm so looking forward to share our reading session with you.
Yes.
And we will see each other very soon if you want to. Bye.
Bye.